Hello and welcome to round 12 of the HSO Kart 1988 Championship, coming to you tonight from Road America for the Briggs and Stratton 200. A supposed to be 200-mile race. We're not entirely sure exactly how many laps we'll be doing, but yeah, oops, my apologies, there we go. Just trying to sort out the graphics. There we go. And with me in the booth tonight we have Alberto Ibañez. Good evening, Alberto.
Good evening, everybody.
And of
Qualifying
course,
is over now. We have Grant on pole, and then Thiago Canola, David Jacks, Brian Janik, Pascal Mikula, Adam Hackman, Ray Riddell, Richard Wilkes, Jason Whited, Alberto Quino, Raúl Jereb, David Sabre, Mick Chapman, Richard Coxon, Jason White, Bruno Chacon, Matthew Leclerc, and Gerard Rion. As you see in the grid, we have today Richard Coxon returning on a single drive for Bettenhausen Motorsports. That's not a fast car, and that's mostly the reason why you don't see him in the top. But otherwise, it's always nice to have one of our best drivers around in the grid.
oh, for sure, there's it'll be interesting to see what he can do with that car. He, of course, was in the number 1 Yud-powered machine. That Bettenhausen car is obviously a Cosworth powered car, so a bit more horsepower, but presumably slightly lesser fuel economy, which will be very important here tonight, considering the way this race is most likely going to play out. But with that said, let's have a quick look at the track map while we wait for the warm-up and race preview stuff to be done, which I have sitting right here if I find it in the list. Of course, Road America, very well known, a very famous American track. It's just barely eclipsing 4 miles in length at 4.048, which equals to 6.515 kilometers, so 6.5 kilometers for a lap. We'll be going for 50 laps, which will equal 202.4 miles. And I have spoken to, I think it was Richard Coxon actually, and he's averaging 9 to 10 liters a lap, which, if I'm not mistaken, is about 2.5 gallons a lap.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the lap here is very long. So this is called by many the Spa-Francorchamps of the United States, and it's quite easy to understand why, because it's a really scenic track. Beautiful landscape around. It also is very quick. It goes up and down at some parts, even if not as much as Spa. But yes, the lap is very long here, and that's the reason why we only have 50 laps, whereas in many other tracks we have been doing 80 or 100 laps. The laps are long, and that means that you need to be really, really careful with your fuel calculations, because if you miss even by a bit, then it's a long way until back into the pits, and therefore you must either, if you're running out of fuel, go very slow, or you might risk ending up by the side of the track, stopped and without fuel, absolutely out of the race with no hopes.
Which has happened to many a driver over the years, it has to be said. So I wouldn't be overly surprised if we see one or two have fuel starvation problems around this track. We could also have a quick look at the points, because I still haven't seen anyone fly past. As just now in the background on my screen I can see, I believe that's Raúl Jereb flying past, so soon we'll be able to have a look at what the track looks like in all its glory in AMS. But the championship is still led by Thiago Canola. He improved his championship position by 1 point. and now leads by 24 points ahead of David Yates. I believe Yates had qualified Canola for this one, so that is a positive thing for David. David Junt lies third on 94 points. I'm not entirely sure if he's here or not. I did read up on that the fact that the F1 race is going on at the same time, so that's a bit of a bad timing from F1, I must say, to have the race at the same time as us, but yeah. Richard Coxon still in fourth, despite not having raced for, I believe, 5 or 6 rounds. He's on 76 points, and Richard Wilkes, our physics guru, lies 5th on 69 points. And now let's see if we can't get on board with one of our drivers for this race and see what the track looks like. You can find anyone about to start a flying lap. Let's see, I believe Alberto might be... no, he's quite... let's see, Ray, Adam... okay, so Brian Yannick is fairly close there, so get on board with Brian here as he comes up the Canada corner. Probably the most famous turn and corner on this track, at least by name. A couple of quick sweepers there, and then into the final turn. And now onto the very, very long start-finish straight. Up the hill we go. There we have the flag and timing gantry as Brian starts the lap, going towards turn 1. Top speed almost 200 miles an hour around here. Through turn 1.
This is a very good turn, and it's going to be very dangerous at the start of the race.
Indeed.
It's narrower than it looks like.
Indeed, and down into turn 2 it's very, very easy to outbrake yourself down there because of the downhill braking zone. And that could be said about turn, what I call turn 3, I think it's turn 5 or 6 on the official track map down here. Very, very tight left-hander. Then it's a short shoot up the hill. Try to turn on the crest. Get the car turned into this left-hander as we are riding behind Mathieu Leclerc. A very quick right-hander here. Very undulating, very easy to break the car loose. Now another downhill braking zone into this tight left-hander, and down into the carousel we go. Corner that goes on and on and on. Down into this very fast right kick where we've seen many big crashes over the years. I think Catherine Leg's one is probably the biggest in car terms, and back to Canada corner we come, and that's a lap around Road America. And as we can see, the lap will be there will be a lot of full throttle around here, so that's why the fuel situation will be very interesting to follow.
Yes, we won't be having here full course yellows. But anyway, like I said, it's very important to calculate, to know very well how much fuel that you need for a lap. Because, as you said, it can be 2 and something gallons. 0.5 gallons or something like that, which already is some weight. I mean, it makes the car obviously slower. Therefore, at some point, you need to gamble when you go past the pit entrance if you go for an extra lap or not. And you could very well end up in tears if you miscalculate the fuel there.
Indeed. And there's also a case of you may be able to save a pit stop if you are able to go long enough, but with that of course is the risk of, do you lose too much time trying to save that extra bit of fuel? Because I reckon this would be a 2 or a 3 stop race. It's just a question of how much fuel can you save while still going very, very quick. And I do honestly reckon David Yates is probably in a box seat because he has the Yad behind him tonight. Although Grant definitely does want to have something to say in the matter, setting the quickest lap in warm-up.
We should be seeing here, I guess, 2 pit stops because, well, the cars are able to do about 20 laps with 1 full tank of fuel, and that means we will be seeing the first pit stop in lap 20 and the second around lap 40, and from then on it's basically a quick speed dash with half tank till the end. The thing is that we might see different strategies here, because it could happen that people go for the full tank at the start of the race and also at the second pit stop, or they advance a bit the pit stop and they space them much better, so they do the same 2 pit stops, but they don't take a full tank of fuel in any case. They just get like 3/4 of the tank, and that should be enough with those same 2 pit stops till the end.
It'll surely be a question of how quick can you go, and is it worth that gamble of having slightly less fuel in the car?
Well, I think so. I mean, if you have about 1/4 of a tank less, you should be going further quicker. So we'll see how this pans out, but I tend to think that this is the strategy that many will be following in the top. Because with no full course yellows, this would be probably the best strategy.
It'll for sure be interesting to follow. Good evening, Berlin. Nice to see you here. Yeah, welcome to everyone else, of course. Hopefully you will enjoy the show here. We are sure to be in for a very good one indeed, no matter how it turns out.
Okay. Starting there, the pace lap behind the safety car.
Yep, with Grant Vidal on pole. Very good effort there. He's been on the pace both in qualifyings and races, but has had some rather bad luck in this series, but hopefully that will turn around and he'll have a good one here. I was actually mistaken. Thiago Canola is lining up second for Dick Simon Racing. Not a good effort from him to keep his championship aspirations well in the game, so to speak. Third on the grid will be David Yates for Hemmelgarn Racing and the first of the Yad-powered cars. Fourth is Brian Yannick for Alex Morales Motorsports, that's a Cosworth. Fifth for Pascal Mikola in the Curb Racing Skoal Bandit machine. I believe that's a Cossie as well. 6th for Adam Hackman for Craig Racing. That's a Cosse. 7th for Ray Riddle in the first of the Ilmore Chevrolet powered cars for Patrick Racing. I would have expected the Ilmore Chevrolets to be further up in qualifying, but looks like they are a bit tricky to drive around here tonight. Richard Wilkes for in the second of the Dick Simon entered cars lines up 8th. 9th for Jason Whited for the leader card racing team. As there seemed to be have been just a little bit of a lag incident there. Rounding out the top 10 is Alberto Jr. For Team Penske. Nice effort from him. 11th is Raul Jereb for Doug Shearson Racing, Domino's Pizza sponsored car. 12th is David Saber for Newman Haas. 13th will be Mick Chapman in the second of the Team Penske entries. 14th for Richard Coxon for the Bettenhausen Motorsports. That's the car that Dave Miller has been driving for most of the season, but he is unfortunately not able to race tonight. Jason White lines up 15th in Richard Coxon's old machine, the Budweiser sponsored number 1 Judd powered car. 16th is Bruno Chacon for Gore Racing. 17th for Mathieu Leclerc for Porsche North America. And Gerard Riot rounds out the grid in 18th for Sierra Racing. That's the full field, and let's see if we can get going and have a good one tonight. So they are snaking their way through Canada Corner, up through the kinks, or sweepers, or whatever you want to call them. And then now looks like they are starting to line up, get prepared for the start.
Yeah, safety car is sprinting already to enter the pits. There it goes, and they should be getting the green flag in any moment.
So they'll just have to break over the crest. And we're racing, and it looks like Grant Riddle has had a good start already. Canola, very bad momentum gear there, but he's able to hold on for now. Canola runs a little bit wide, Grant with a loose moment.
Very cold tires now, dangerous situation always.
Yep, down into turn 3, Adam Hackman making a move on Jason Whited, I think that was. It looks like everyone has made their way through the opening 2 turns. Down into turn 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. Not entirely sure. Looks like Raul Jereb makes a move on Mick Chapman. I believe that's for like 12th and 13th.
Mick Chapman and Raul Jereb, who are there very close together, joking for position and trying to see how they can set the pecking order.
You see that Richard Wilkes has had a good start. Here goes Coxon up the inside of Alberto Jr. Alberto leaving him a good bit of room, and Coxon is past.
Yeah, Dalal has opted for a full tank strategy, so he will be filling the half a tank for the last stop.
But Grant is wide.
Obviously slower.
Yep, and sorry about that, but Grant went wide in the kink. Coxon on the dirt as well, as is Jason White. So clearly that kink is a little bit tricky. Grant runs wide at Canada Corner as well.
Yeah, because of the dirty tires. Until he clears all the dirt that the tires have picked up, the car will obviously have less grip.
Oh, for sure, and little Al with a little bit of a lock up there, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. As you can see, so I'm just trying to get the camera to work properly. struggling a little bit.
Brian Janik now moving on Pascal Mikula. He passed him on the straight, going down to turn 3.
Pardon me, I'm just going to have to look at a quick solution.
Whoa, Pascal certainly doesn't want to give up that position. Oops, Richard Coxon and Raul Jereb just touched. Richard had to take evasive action.
Yeah, we are sorry about the lack of coverage there. One of my buttons ceased to work, and I may have had a bit of a nudge there. Looks like Raul got sideways, and Richard didn't really have much else to go than where he went. You see David Saber here running wide with dirty tires. See if Ray Riddle is able to make use of it. It looks like he will. As he flies past down the straight and up into 9th.
While Pascal Mikula on the front has overtaken Richard Wilkes, both him and Brian Janik, because Wilkes had a good start, but now they have got their position back. Brian's driving very fast today, now trying to get closer to David Jackson and Thiago Ganola, who are there on a fight of their own, because Grant Riddle is starting to open a gap on them.
Looks like he will be able to do so. It's almost up to 3 seconds already after just barely completed 4 laps, I think, by the time they finish this lap. So some frantic pace from Grant this early on. Meanwhile, Thiago had a bad run through the last turn. Let's see if David Yates can do anything about it. I know Canola usually runs a low wing setup, so...
Well, Matthew Leclerc is on the pits without rear wing. Probably touched the wall somewhere.
That's very unfortunate indeed.
David Jack's already putting some pressure on Thiago Canola. He doesn't like to see how Grant is slowly getting away. But it seems that Thiago has a bit more of top speed here, even despite the draft.
It looks like he is doing what he usually does, running less wing. And somehow making it work in the corners.
Richard Wilkes tried there to get his position back from Pascal Mikula, but that didn't work. David Saber and Brian Diddle are also still at it. David's trying to find a way past his fellow Englishman. Whoa, now right touched the grass a bit, but that won't be enough.
Bit of a contact. Only Rev will be looking at this and thinking, well, get on with this fellas, I'd like 2 positions please.
That would be an easy way to win too, but...
He has a run.
So, there he goes on the inside of David Saber. Nice braking maneuver there, very clean pass.
Oh, running a little bit wide there though, but...
Yeah, the power out of the corner did let him down a bit. Anyways, he was able to make it stick, at least for now. I would venture that he's running also with very little wind because he has a Cosworth engine while David Saber has the more powerful Chevy engine, and despite that, Raul was able to overhaul him well in the straight. Careful now in turn 1, this is not the place you want to be side by side. Oh my god! Right Riddle went there very slowly through the corner and Raul had to take evasive action. Fortunately it ended up well, but it's a bit weird what happened there.
Not entirely sure, may just be that Jereb's very quick in that corner especially, and it looks like he's on a run. Oh, he's on the grass! Had to take avoiding action again.
What was that? A fast and furious move.
I think he got caught up by a gear change maybe and decided to take evasive action and ended up on the grass to avoid contact.
Could very well be.
You can see all three of them having to work quite hard to get the speed out of the cars. Oh, and Raul with a lot of trouble in the carousel. One on the grass.
Moving around very nervous. Not sure what he's trying to do there. Maybe confusing Raul Jereb about which side he's going to overtake, but in any case they got already Coxon right behind. Jax meanwhile overtook Thiago Canola and is chasing Frank Ridal on the top.
My apologies for missing that. That action was quite good to watch, and well, it is 4 seconds for him to try and regain, but I wouldn't put it past David to be able to do so.
And there's really a big traffic jam there between David Saber, Rai Rida, Raul Jereb and Little Al.
And not that far behind is Mick Chapman as well.
Raul Jereb was saying just before the race that, well, this is a big track and today there were less cars, so it could be a long race, but it seems not going to be the case for him.
I'm fairly sure he can't believe his eyes as Coxon goes up the inside of Ray Rideau at turn 5 and makes the move stick. Nice little move there. Oh, Saber wide!
He missed the braking mark there, trying to rejoin the track, but he has lost many positions there. Raul meanwhile has been able to open a gap, but we'll see how long that lasts.
When Mick up the inside, but David Saber brakes very late and holds on to the position for now. Oh, and Lil Al a little bit sideways, but able to hold on to it. Now possibly with a bit of a run on...
Richard Coxon now coming to Raul Jereb. Lots of top speed in that car.
Possibly running low wing as well. Oh, look at that around outside, what a move!
Yeah, he was able to make it stick there. Very good move.
Fantastic.
And I'm sure that Raul Jereb is by now wishing that there were really way less cars on the track.
Very possible. And look at that, Coxon already opening up a gap as here comes Ray looking up the inside, but Raul definitely running less wing. Ray not quite able to get close enough. Well, Raul a little bit wide, this could open up for a bit of an opportunity for Ray down in turn 2. We had a thought about it, but backed out. Fantastic racing for the places inside the top 10.
This must be very frustrating for Rai.
Oh, for sure. And David Saber won't be happy with his situation either, now having to defend from Mick Chapman, having been at the front of that group not that long ago.
This is a situation where the slightest error can make you very quickly lose 2-3 positions.
Indeed.
Let's see who is able to withstand the pressure better. Oh, and Richard Wilkes is also at it with Pascal Mikula. He seems to have been able to catch up with him. And wants his position back, his 5th position. Well, at the top, nothing different has changed. Oh, some lag here. Oh! There.
Pascal Mikula missed a gear. Wow.
Therefore. But Richard Wilkes is having lots of lag.
Dear me. That's not good at all.
No, you can't really drive well with a car that is suffering. It seems to be going better now. Sure what happened there. Maybe something kicked in the background for him and slowed his windows.
Possibly.
But
Unfortunate
everything
for Pascal.
seems to be okay now. So back to that group, Raul Jerez has been able to overtake Richard Coxon. Seems they are very evenly matched in terms of speed, all that group. The positions could very well be decided at pit stops.
Indeed.
By the way, the tires are taking a really big beating with all this fighting around and locking brakes and all that. So we see as we approach the end of the stint how they are able to keep the cars on track, because right now we are only on lap number 8. I mean, not even half a stint into the race.
Very much so. As I can see in the background, I think Little Al was thinking about a move on Ray, but didn't make it, and Chapman is alone now, so where has...
David Sabre is right now without the front wing.
Oh dear, that's very unfortunate indeed. Looks like he has...
Bruno Chacon just overtook him, but he must have hit the wall at some point.
Indeed, and by the way his car moved there, it looked... I suspect he may have some more damage than just the front wing.
Now Mathieu Leclerc is back on track. While Grant Riddle, David Jackson, Thiago Canola are fairly spaced, though Brian Janik is already catching up with Thiago Canola, and we could see a change in the podium position if this goes on as it is now, because Brian is certainly way quicker than Thiago in catching up. Sure what's up with Thiago today. Wilkes got by Pascal Mikula. Meanwhile, we're missing all the overtakes. We're watching the battles but missing the overtakes.
Well, we may see some now, because we have Wilkes at the front of this train, Mikula second, and 6th, and then we have Whitehead and Hackman not far behind. Hackman's car beautifully balanced through the carousel. I think that's probably the best balanced car I've seen through that today so far. Mikula struggling a little bit to get the power down, coming out of Canada corner, but now we're right behind Richard Wilkes again. just slightly towards the inside, trying to unsettle Jason. Oh, just a tiny bit there.
And Little Alice now overtaking Coxon. Great, thanks to heavy power. While Ray Riddle is getting close on Raul Jereb. Probably wants... Oh, Raul just leads sideways on that one.
Ray, of course, with the power advantage in this particular fight.
David Sabra with a new front wing is on track. Again. 17th now. Obviously he lost there lots of ground. Only Matthew Leclerc is behind him. Matthew, who also had damage and had to enter for repairs. And Jason White and Gerard Rion are also having their own little fight there. Whoa! Gerard just been sliding out of the track into the grass. But they should be very soon back at it.
Ooh, actually, tiny bit of contact going down at turn 5 or 6. And as we could see as I just jumped back, Gerard, as you said, ran a little bit wide.
With all the damage and forced stops, it seems that Grant is already starting to lap cars. Just got by David Sabre. And Raul Jereb and Ray Riddle are now coming to turn 1. Oh,
he's way ahead in the braking zone, so he should be able to take, unless he runs wide, he should take the position. No, he runs wide. Nice little cutback move from Ray there. Let's see if
Raul plays the same trick on him.
He's trying.
He nearly was able to. The shifter, he might have missed a bit the shifting because he suddenly was going backwards.
Could be. It's also one of those situations where, unless you're sure you've selected the gear, you don't really want to go on the throttle. Because these engines, I reckon, is a little bit sensitive in terms of revving it to high heavens.
We are now on the 11th lap. So for those that are going for a different strategy and filling only 3/4 of the tank, I think we should wait till lap 15, and at that point we will see who enters the pits and who doesn't.
Indeed, and that's interesting to see. I don't know if it's the lap traffic or what caused that, but Grant ran a lap 3 seconds off his ultimate pace in that he's set so far in this race. So I wonder if that's a question of him trying to go a little bit slow to save just a tad bit of fuel, or if it was just a lap traffic holding him up.
Well, if he feels confident about his gap with David Jacks, then probably he won't be pushing the car too much without any real need of doing so. Oh, Jason White now on Pascal Mikula. Oof. Pascal must have shifted the shifter because Whitehead was coming really quick there.
Well, may be the case, but Pascal holds on for now as Whitehead runs a little bit wide. That turn is deceivingly difficult.
And Brian Janik is also past Thiago Canola.
Oh, wow.
We also missed that one.
Already third done, I think, yeah. I'll have a quick look, see if I can get it on the replay. It looks like it happened a little while ago. It happened before the lap started, so unfortunately that's a bit too far to go back. Well, as you say, Brian Yannick up into third, so good effort from him so far in this race, sitting just
And
over.
Little Al is also now trying to overtake Raul Jerez. They're both at the kink now. Very high speed there.
As Grand Ridol set the fastest lap of the race so far, so whatever I said about him saving fuel, that's probably just a lap traffic.
Maybe so, yes. Yeah, because like I said, he was starting to lap cars, so...
Yeah, that's why I was a little bit tentative in what I was saying.
Little Al seems to have run there.
That was a fantastic exit.
Out of the corner quite well, though. In the end, Raul seems to have really high top speed there.
He must be running low wing.
It was very frustrating to try to overtake a car that has such low wing. You have to time things very well to come out of the corners accelerating quickly enough.
Driving the Nissan in the STW, I have no idea what you're talking about. Mainly because the Nissan in that series has the best straight line speed. Because it was tested at Fuji, which essentially is one long straight, 4 turns where you try to hold on and then it's another long straight. So but yeah, there is advantages and disadvantages in running lower wing or having a faster car in a straight line. One of them being that you struggle in these kind of turns, so we can see Raul's car moving around quite a bit through this turn. Not as much as we've seen previously, but...
Yeah, the exit speed is not as good one as from Little Al, but...
Here he comes. Here comes Little Al, he's up the inside, he should be able to brake Raul into Canada corner. And he does so, can he get the exit?
Out. Well, that seems to have worked for now.
Yep, so Little Al up into 10th position. So back into the top 10, he started 10th, dropped back early, but looks like his strategy is starting to pay off. You can see Coxon starting to ease.
Wow, and look at that, look at Raul. That's a really low wing setting. Because he's like a rocket in the straight lines.
That looked reminiscent of Thiago Canola complete brain fade.
Meadowlands?
Yes, thank you, at Meadowlands. The way he blasted down the straights. And Toronto, to be fair, he had a few moments where he blasted down the straight there as well. Making it look like everyone else was standing still. Oh, it's Raul! Oh dear me, no!
Yeah, he probably gave too much throttle coming out of the corner. And he has hit the... Fortunately for him, he has not lost the wing or anything like that, but I don't know if his car is crippled.
Well, difficult to say, possibly a little bit. It certainly looks like the way his car is moving, I think he has a left rear puncture possibly. So taking it very gingerly.
United is putting a lot of pressure on Pascal Mikula. They were very close together the lap before. Now Pascal has opened a bit of a gap, but it seems to me that Whitehead is more regular and has a better speed and is able to always get back to Pascal. Though, as we know, getting there is one thing and overtaking is a very different proposition altogether.
For sure, and Whitehead also has to consider the fact that Alan Hackman is sitting just a few car lengths behind as well. So any mistake he makes could open up the door for Adam to sneak past.
So Raul is indeed going for the pits. Sure if there's a puncture or not, but he was certainly going very slow. Could be taking some repairs.
Yeah, I think he had a puncture. The way his car moved at the carousel made it seem like that.
Well,
but,
Matthew Leclerc is also. What happens here? He's back out of track. Probably.
Possibly just trying to get out of the way of everyone. Seeing as he's in the middle of the leading contenders fight. Nice work from Matthew there. From what I could see, it looked like
a small spin entering the turn. So fortunately, nobody hit him.
Oh no! David Sabre has blown his engine.
Oh my god. Maybe he had too short gears for here and the engine was taking too much of a beating there.
Possibly. See, he goes through the kink. Oh, he missed the gear coming out. He changed out. He was going to change up to 6th. I think he missed the gear. Went on a throttle assist as if he had gotten it in.
He has done his first stop.
Grant with his first stop, did you say?
Jax has gone on for another lap and he's the leader now. Pascal Mikula is also in the pits now. As predicted, lap 15, we see who was having such a strategy. So it's Grant and Pascal.
It looks like...
And so far, I believe nobody else has pit.
Well, Raul did, but I don't think he had plans on pitting at that time originally.
Reasons, probably.
But the positive thing for Grant is that he's come out just ahead of Richard Cox and was able to hold on.
White just missed his pinpoints and is out of the track. Rejoining now, but he lost his position to Adam Hackman.
That's what I said earlier.
Think also to Richard Wilkes.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, he was having to contend with the fact that he had Hackman right behind him. And unfortunately for him, that's all she wrote in that regard.
Meanwhile, Grant is in front of Richard Coxon, but now with his heavy fuel load, while Richard is obviously carrying way less because he's about to pit in 5 laps.
Yep.
He's hindering a bit, I believe, Richard, but that won't last long. Oh, and he's in the grass now.
Oh,
so
and Alberto's as well, up ahead of them.
Is he?
Yeah, he went wide at the kink.
Ah, okay.
Of course, there's Mick Chapman, not that far behind either, who could play a role in this. But there goes Coxon into the pits.
And also Little Al, which is quite surprising for me because I thought he would be able to do more laps. There's a lot of
Ray
people
Riddle
in the
is in,
pits now.
Hackman's in, White is in, Wilkes is in. So only the top 3 staying out.
Quite long pit stop. I don't know if they forgot to disable repairs. No. Coming out now. Little Al. So Whited, Riddle, and the Little Al, they're coming out of the pits.
Yeah, and then Coxon and Chapman. With Jason White, I believe he's staying out and gaining a couple of positions here. For now, up into 12th. Whereas he breaks, runs a little bit wide at turn 1, but stays on the track.
Yeah, very delicate moments now. They're coming out of the pits with a heavy car and cold tires and brakes. But they should be good in some corners.
Microphone activated.
For sure, and I wonder if anyone will decide to gamble on not taking any tires at the final stop.
I don't think there is not a lot to gain there.
And a leading trio into the pits. David Yates just about holding on ahead of... no sir, that wasn't the one I thought it was. So David Yates out in the lead. Yannick heading out now. I believe that's Canola flying past. It is. So, no sir, can't Riddle of course. So Riddle retains second, running very wide at turn 1. But second he is, but now 8 seconds the gap to David Yates. Brian Yannick 3rd, Thiago Canola 4th, 5th for Richard Wilkes, 6th for Pascal Mikola, 7th for Adam Hackman, Bruno Chacon currently 8th.
Yeah, he
but
hasn't
into the
stopped,
pits.
but he's in the pits now, so he's dropping in the order quickly.
Yeah. So Ray Riddle 8th, White in 9th, and Lil Al still inside the top 10. With Coxon
there we see
11th.
In the case of David Jacks, that stretching a bit your stint seems to pay off.
Oh, as Jason Whited ran wide at turn 1, so as Lil Al up into 9th. That's another very tricky turn. It's very easy to just go in there a little bit too quick, which is what Jason did, and the car just won't quite stick.
And well, now Rich Coxon and Jason Whited coming back to Little Al. But there's also Ray Riddle there in front. And now after this pit stop, it seems the cars are generally more stretched. The track. David Jacks is doing a great job, stretching even more his lead with Grant Riddle. Brian Janik is relatively close to Grant Riddle, but the danger for Brian Janik comes here from Thiago Canola, who is not far behind him. They are now lapping Gerard Rion. And Wilkes is in 5th position, a very consolidated 5th position. That's great to see him there. To have gained the edge on Pascal there on the pit stop. Pascal also stopped quicker first. And then Richard Wilkes was able to stretch for 2 laps or so his pit stop, and as we have seen, same as with David Jacks, it seems to pay off big time here.
Well, let's wait, and I suppose the tires are holding on better than I think both of us expected, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I think the problem is more the fuel than the tires here. Because besides the carousel, you don't really have lots of turns that are continuously stressing the tires here. And you also don't have a lot of downforce, so the tires are not suffering a huge amount of beating in the turns compared with other tracks.
That's definitely true.
I think that Little Al is a bit bottled behind Ray Riddle now, and Jason Whited is going to put a lot of pressure on him.
Very possible, but we'll see what happens here. Down straight.
I thought the turn better than Raya, I think, but maybe the different gearing.
Not quite able to get close enough. Only big tank slapping. Deary me. Nicely held. Good work, Alberto.
Using all of the tractor, touching the grass many times with the edge of the wheel.
Well, here comes Jason with a good run down the straight, the double slipstream for him. Tries to put Alberto under pressure. He looks like he was able to. Alberto runs wide. Jason trying to.
Little as is he because, well, he had not gained the position yet, but it's one of those situations where the other car can very quickly move to your side, and if you are not well aware, you can very well hit him.
All these three doing a great job so far in this race. To be fair, everyone is doing a great effort in this race to be able to keep going. I know for sure I wouldn't have been able to. And here goes Alberto looking for another opportunity on Ray. Brakes late, looks up the inside. Oh, not quite able to make it work. And unfortunately loses the position back to Jason Whited.
Yeah, that was also probably not the best place to get past Brian Riddle. But we'll see. Might be other chances in the race. Briggs overtaking Gerard Rion now. And on the top, Jack still with some lead to Grant Riddle, then Brian Janik, but Thiago Canola is now closing on Brian Janik. Only 1 second behind him. We'll follow that one. See if Thiago is able to get even closer.
Indeed, may have been an inopportune moment for Brian with
meanwhile, Whitehead is overtaking Brian Riddle on the straight. Pure top speed here. Whitehead seems to have
a bit of a low wing, but Ray cut back there.
Yeah, Ray wants the position back. He's keeping there in the inside, but no luck. And Little Al is there waiting to reap the benefits of any error.
Oh, and a big lockup for Jason there.
Thiago's definitely getting closer to Brian Janik, not yet in striking distance, but might have him in some more laps.
Nice to have you along, Dave and Mrs. Dave.
Oh, Whitehead makes an error there.
Oh, dear me.
Look what happens.
Looks like another one of those tries to go into turn one a little bit too quick.
I see Raul Jerez seems to have quit. Sure, maybe he got damage or he was not feeling well.
Well, it is a Sunday after a long week, so possibly. Could also have been that he had a second spin and felt like it was better off quitting than impacting anyone else's race negatively. By the way, that's very unfortunate, but it was nice to see Raul having a few good battles along the way. Hopefully we'll have a good race next time out in this series, which will be at Ray Vidal runs way wide. When Alberto takes to grass to avoid contact.
There. And so Rai has been able to retain the position. With all the moves that Little Al is doing to try to follow and anticipate Red Riddle, Jason Whited is quite confused there behind because he's obviously reacting to all of that.
He had a run but missed a gear. Still with a bit of a run. Dear me, he has some speed in a straight line. It looks like side by side here. But Alberto backs off or couldn't quite get the exit and drops behind Whited once again.
Yeah, he was not going to risk it there, and Jason had legitimately won the position, so... At the front, Brian Janik seems to be able to keep Thiago Canola at the same distance. Thiago hasn't been able to gain anything. So the closest battle now is indeed between Rai, Jason and Little Al.
As it has been for most of the race, it has to be said.
Yes, yeah, it's going to be quite stressing for them all. I think Little Al will sleep well today. Out of exhaustion.
Very likely indeed. And he may have the Patrick Racing, the Leader Card Racing, and the Domino's Pizza and Bettenhausen Racing machines chasing him in his dream.
Seems that Whited now. No, that Rai has been able to open a bit of a gap, and also Whited because there was some error by Little Al some turns before. So let's see how long this lasts. These small teasing hostilities.
But seeing as there is a bit of a lull in the action, so to speak, as we are going up towards half distance, let's have a quick look at the trivia question for you for this evening. That you have something to think about for the rest of the way. So the question for you tonight is: who was disqualified from the 1988 Briggs and Stratton 200? Was it A, Fulvio Balabio? Was it B, Randy Lewis? Or was it C, bit of a typo, Dale Coybe? That's supposed to be Dale Coyne. Happily, but I can somewhat regrettably tell you that I got that one wrong. Do you have any guesses straight away, Alberto, or will you wait for the reveal later?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I can venture, I guess, an answer and say, well, let's say Randy Lewis, just for the heck of it.
I thought I was going to say just because it's Randy. But yeah, I also noticed in the graphics that unfortunately Mathieu Leclerc has retired from this race. Very unfortunate, but maybe a situation of another off-track excursion causing a bit too much damage to the car. But either way, sad to see him and the Porsche go, but Hopefully he too will have a better race over at the Pennsylvania International Raceway, where we will be going next in the championship. A short 1 mile oval.
And I don't know what happened with Little Al there, but he lost the position to Richard Coxon. Why White was able to overtake Ray Riddle.
Oh, so let's see. I think Alberto was looking at the fight up ahead a little bit too much, missed his braking point, went wide, and while he was trying to rejoin, Coxon was able to make his way past.
Ah, yes.
Down at turn 5. As you said, the fight is back on between Whited and Ray Riddle for 8th and 9th.
Yeah, Whitehead seems to be quicker and able to overtake, but then at some point doesn't seem to be able to keep the rhythm that well when there is nobody in front. Let's see if he can make it stick this time.
Ray using all the track and a bit more in his pursuit. Went wide with a big loose moment as he put the power on.
Little Al meanwhile recovered and is catching up with Coxon, who obviously has a much slower car. And Grant Riddle just scored the quickest lap of the race and is now 2 seconds behind David Jacks.
Oh dear, so Grant is flying, but obviously the fuel situation could play out again. Difficult to say for sure, but it could. But we do have that different fuel situation with David presumably going with a full tank for the start of the race and Grant going with a slightly smaller tank for the start. It'll be interesting to see if that's a smaller tank at each stop, like you mentioned as a possible strategy, or if it'll be just for the opening stint. But in the meantime,
the case, David Jacks has certainly 2 more laps than Grant Riddle in terms of fuel.
indeed,
Whatever Grant loaded. If David Jacks has loaded the full tank, which I suppose he has, then he still has 2 laps more than Grant Riddle. So let's see what happens now.
it could also be the difference, of course, between the Cosworth and the Yad power plant, with the Yad obviously using slightly less fuel.
Yes, it's certainly a more easy on fuel, an engine that is easy on fuel than the others. Not as powerful, even if the difference isn't huge, but yeah, uses less fuel.
I noticed Coxon may have had a bit of a moment somewhere. He's now in 12th.
The replay now, but
Little Al has had a bit of a off-track run again. Dirty tires all around, so shouldn't be just a bit of a wide moment somewhere. I also notice Ackman is closing up on Pascal Mikola with a big sideways moment coming out of the final turn. And here comes Hackman, flying past on the straight.
Ooh, that was close.
Oh, and Mikola doing the attacking back there. Oh, and again with a very loose moment.
Yeah, he knows if he doesn't recover the position quickly, it's very easy that a car that is quicker than you leaves you in the dust, and you will have no second chance of overtaking.
So a bit of aggressive defending from Pascal there, but I think it was all above board. He did move towards the left all the way.
And Grant is also very close to David Jacks now. A good position to retake the lead, though this is obviously a long race, and we know that David has a better engine in terms of fuel use, so there you go, Grant gets the lead again. But we'll see what happens when he has to stop.
Indeed, it could be as much as 4 laps this time round. If it's the same fuel situation from stop to stop.
Jason Whitehead has consolidated his position, but he certainly is not opening a big gap with Ry Riddle. So like I said, he's be quicker when he has a car in front, when he is racing by himself.
For sure, and this could also help David, I suppose, because of him being able to sit in a slipstream and just save a tiny bit of fuel doing that as well. Although, considering how much pace Grant has, he may be already out of that slipstream.
Yes, and we are now 28 laps into the race, and Grant, if I'm not mistaken, he stopped in lap 14 or 15, so he should be very close now to pitting if he is following the same strategy, which we don't know. If he changed something, let's see. No, he goes by the pit entry, so at least one more lap for him.
Now it looks like Grant is out of David's grasp for now. So let's quickly run through the order as well.
Ry has now again a chance on Jason Whitehead. They're coming now to the kink.
Now on board with Ray, looking ahead. At the Toshiba rear wing. Jason Whitehead's. Leader card entered Lola, I think that is. That change of gear.
Yeah, probably missed the gear because the difference in speed was huge. So frustrating when you miss the gear.
Oh, it is indeed.
This fight between both is allowing Little Al to get a bit closer again. He's now 4 seconds behind Whitehead. Let's see if this becomes another 3-way fight very soon. David Jacks is now on top. Let's see if Grant is in the pits. Yes, Grant is in the pits. Lap 30, so 15 lap stints. That's what he's doing.
So you'll have one more splash and dash before the end of the race then?
And you gotta wonder what will happen now, because with another stint like this, he would go to lap 45 and there would be 5 laps missing for him. So, not sure what he's going to do. Maybe cut the stints a bit, accepting that he needs another pit stop, or try to save fuel going slower.
Well, I suppose either.
Pascal
either could
Mikula is
work.
also in the pits. Let's see who else, because Red Riddle just overtook also Jason Whited, probably another error or something like that. But we'll see if any of them enters the pits. No, they don't. They are going for another lap. And so is Little Al.
And Mick Chapman. What about Richard Coxon then? He stays out.
We'll see how long it takes for David Jacks to be forced to enter. Now going past pit lane. And another lap for him. Ryan Janik, who is in second now, also goes by the pit lane. And Thiago Canola also does.
As Jan Reon very sportingly gets out of the way and Ray makes a bit of a mistake, so yet again it's very close between Riddle and Whitehead. And Lil Al only 2.5 seconds off now.
Yep. Yeah, that fight between both Whitehead and Riddle is obviously slowing them down, so that makes things easier for Little Al to catch up.
Very much so.
Good move again by Gerard. See if anyone is diving into the pits. No. One more lap at least.
So with that I'd assume them to make it to lap 34. If they are going to go with the same kind of stint length, meaning that I believe they would be more or less able to make it to the end.
Let's see, because David Jacks is already coming to the start-finish line, well, to the last turn before the start-finish line, and this is the moment where we will see if he heads for the pits. No, another lap.
So at least one more lap then, yeah. Interesting. And
Well, this is
Thiago's
another nail in the coffin for Grant Riddle's hopes. Because
could be.
with that speed, in the case of David Jacks, combined with that fuel consumption, going to be very hard for Grant. This is really a mountain to climb. Wilkes is now in the pits. Whitehead putting pressure on Ryan Riddle. Both there in the carousel. And Ryan either missed a gear or slowed a bit too much.
Alberto can see the guys ahead now, so that's nice count for him.
Right.
Oh dear.
Lost it accelerating, and he has lost the position to Whitehead. And got just Little Al right behind him. So they all go into the pits at the same time.
How close do you want it?
Well, if there's a
Hackman's-
moment when you can flat spot your tires, it's entering the pits.
Well, if you know you're going to change tires anyway, yeah, why not?
Well, that was luck. I guess Little Al didn't expect Rai to
Possibly, yeah,
lose
David
speed
Yates
so
does
quickly
another lap.
before. There you go.
This could be the one that makes or breaks his race. I would assume him to be more or less on fumes, or as close to getting there as would be possible. As Thiago stays out, as does Brian. And Grant actually losing time to Brian Yannick even. This early on in his stint.
With a full tank, obviously.
And that full tank makes almost 2 seconds a lap, it looks like.
Let's see on the top, it's Richard Coxon still left to pit.
Oh, as Richard Wilkes has had a bit of a spin, Coxon just barely avoids him. Richard Wilkes lost it at Canada Corner. See what happened there.
He got pit 2 laps before, so maybe he was still a bit heavy on fuel.
Possibly, it looks very similar to the moment that Ray Riddle had at the very same corner. Just ended a little bit too quick, and the rear end just wouldn't quite hold the tarmac as well as they would have wanted. And it looks like Jason White has had a fantastic pit stop. He has 2 seconds
Coxon
to Hackman, and then another few seconds to Riddle and Equino. Lilal, that is, as you say, Coxon is in. And Yakes is in. So leader is in on the end of lap 34, I think that is. Cano Lane as well. Possibly shadowing his championship rival. And Brian Yannick, will he make his way into the pits as well? He does. This will be interesting. How big will the gap be? Yakes already leaving the pits. Oh, but it is a long pit lane. It's an excruciating long pit lane. But out of the pits he comes, and I think
this should be the last pit stop for David Jackson. I mean, all that have pit now. Oh, Ray Riddle misses it there, but Riddle was too far behind to capitalize on that. I mean, everybody that has stopped now on this lap is not having to do another pit stop because they've been able to do 17 laps on a full tank. We are on lap 34, which means that they should be able to do up to lap 51. So the race is set for them.
indeed,
And only a track error can spoil it.
for sure.
Whereas in the case of Grant, it's obvious that he will have to stop again.
The question is, how long will that stop be for him? I mean, just a pit transition time is like, compared to a race lap, probably 15 seconds or something.
Yeah, but the problem here is not the time you spend on your pit box getting refueled or the tires. The
No, that's
real
what I mean.
problem
It's
is
just 15 to 20 seconds
that
traveling
it's a very
through the
long
pit lane.
pit lane that you are doing at very slow speed.
And also notice Canolas made his way into third during those pit stops. Brian Yannick with a longer pit stop, sitting now 13 seconds behind Thiago. Wilkes still in 5th, Mikula still in 6th, White at 7th, gained a couple of positions with the pit stops, Hackman 8th, Ray Riddle 9th, and Lil Al still in 10th, Mick Chapman 11th, Coxon 12th. They have closed up, so that could be a battle to watch in the near future. Bruno Chacon 13th, heading towards the pits. Jason White in the second of the yacht-powered cars, the Budweiser sponsored one, in 14th. He stays out for another lap. And Gerard Rion 15th, and the last of our drivers still running. With Mathieu Leclerc, Raoul Jereb and David Saber unfortunately being our retirees.
Grant is now again closing to David Jacks, but since he will have to make another pit stop, this is probably the last battle for him.
It's very possible.
Must be frustrating to feel quicker on the track and be able to overtake and all that. Then, well, it's a bit of a hare versus tortoise situation.
Very much so. Okay, thank you, Mathieu. So, fortunately, Mathieu was going from 4th to 5th and unfortunately engaged 3rd gear instead. And I think in any car that would be the end of that engine, unfortunately.
Whoa, Ray Riddle there missed the braking point, locked wheels, and he almost had a spin there. Did Lal had to take evasive action? Well, what's up with Ray Riddle now? I mean, he probably flat spotted tires and couldn't even enter properly the following turn.
It's possible.
Yeah, he's going now much slower.
I don't know if brake fade would be anything to worry about in this race.
It shouldn't, but if people have close to match the brake ducts, maybe they are overheating them. Could be.
Ooh, and a very close call for a misshift. For Ray Rideau. So Ray back into 10th and Lil Lal up into 9th. That's Bruno Chacon very sportingly gets out of the way of both of them. Nicely done.
So Grant to get the lead back. He's right behind David Jacks now and putting some pressure on him. Obviously David is quite comfortable because he knows that he doesn't have to do any more pit stops, and the more laps Grant is behind him, the bigger his lead will be later.
Indeed, and we'll see what happens here. Last time Grant flew past on the start-finish straight. He's closing in very quickly, looks up the inside and again takes the position in a very near carbon copy move as David Yates runs just a little bit wide.
Yeah, David wasn't obviously going to put a fight there. He knows that Grant is quicker, but he's on a very different race.
It's certainly true.
Look at the gap that Grant has already opened. Obviously he has way less fuel on board and he's going very quick, but it's a bit hopeless for him because he would have to gain a lead of, say, no less than 25 to 30 seconds to be able to soak his pit stop and not lose the lead, or at least have a chance at overtaking again the last laps.
Well, that's I believe that was Jean Brion very wide at the carousel, but
No, I think it was Richard Coxon.
was it Coxon even?
The way for them.
Looked very strange, but nice job staying out of the way. Just a bit surprised to see someone way out there. Ooh, as he outbrakes himself into Canada corner. Almost made contact with that was either Gerard Riot or Thiago Canola.
And Little Al is now closing to Adam Hackman, who, I don't know why, seems to have lost a lot of rhythm in this part of the race, because he had been doing very well up to 4th at several points.
Maybe he's tried a fuel-only stop.
Maybe so.
As Lil Al has a slight lockup of the inside left. Been running a little bit wide at the
Really
kick
trying there. When you have the car in front in your sights, then it makes you antsy.
For sure it does. It's one of those where you just have to try and maintain your rhythm and not worry too much about what's in front of you. Of course, easier said than done.
And this racing order that we are seeing now is going to change a lot in some laps, because when they all go for the last pit stop, we will see that some cars will be stopping, others won't, and the order will be completely changed.
Very much so, and I reckon the biggest change will be for the lead.
That Pascal Mikula coming out of the pits, that's his last pit stop, obviously.
Yeah, he would have wanted to get his splash out of the way now. And just run with the full tank and try to hang with the rest.
Yeah, with 38 laps we are into the race. That's not going to be a full tank for Pascal, but
Well,
certainly still a big load of fuel.
indeed.
For all that have to stop later, it will be a splash and dash, basically.
Very much so, and it looks like these guys are concertining up again, because now Lil Al has Jason Whited in his sights once again, just up on the horizon of the straight. And he's closing quickly on Adam Hackman. Wow!
He's, like I said, Whited is very quick when he has a car to follow, but for whatever reason he doesn't seem to be able to keep the same speed when he's on his own.
Very much so, and Lil Al looking for a move on Hackman. Looks up the inside at Canada corner. Hackman gives him room. Nice.
He does.
Nice.
Very clean of him.
Nice consideration driving from both of them. Hackman actually lets him go. Probably feeling Lil Al is way quicker, so Lil Alberto up into 7th. Hackman back into 8th, and now Pascal Mikula and Ray Riddle not that far behind either. Yates
So we're
actually.
now in lap 14.
Indeed, and David Yates looks like he's actually able to hang with. My apologies. Actually able to tag along with Grant quite well, keeping it to between 3 and 4 seconds at the moment. Let's see what happens here. Pascal has a bit of a run on Adam Hackman. Thinks about a move up the inside.
Way more fuel, but yeah, Hackman misses there a bit the braking, and that's enough for Pascal to get by.
I reckon it must be that Adam decided to try and gain some time by not taking tires during that stop. I can't think of any other reason for him to have this much trouble.
Also trying to make the move on Adam Hackman. I don't know why Hackman is so slow now. Something must be wrong with his car, because he's losing a lot of positions.
Either that or the tires has just died on him for some reason. If he didn't take tires, or if they are just really off the mark or whatever, or as you say, if there's may have been some contact with lap traffic or something, but yeah, very strange. this sets up for a four-way scrap for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th between Whited, Little Al, Mikola and Ray Riddle.
Yeah, but Mikula has already stopped, so when the cars in front go into the pits, he will have the track for himself.
Yes, but I honestly believe Whited, Little Al and Ray Riddle has stopped for the final time. I think they stopped.
I think they will. Yes.
I think they stopped late enough to make it to the end.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I think it will be close, but let's see. Yes, Little Al seems to be quicker in the stint than Jason Whited because he's catching up with him.
It certainly looks like it. Maybe Little Al was taking it a little bit easy early on, just trying to settle into the race, and now that he feels a little bit more confident, this is where we see how fast he actually is around here.
He didn't make a good qualifying. He was a few seconds lower than what he had practiced, so not sure. He was a bit tired today, but it seems that now he's focused.
Always
There.
White with a bit of a moment, and Little Al goes up in the 6th position. So whichever way it is, Little Al seems wide awake now. Let's see what Whiteley can do down the straight. We have seen him very quick here before, and here he comes flying. And back up into 6th position he goes.
That's a real rocket of a car. Must have very low wings.
Certainly. Always Whited misses a gear. Side by side down into the braking zone. Jason is able to get the car stopped. Alberto trying for the cutback. He gets slightly up the inside. White leaves him a little bit of room, and both of them are able to continue. Great racing. Nice clean action. When White with a bit of a lock up. When another missed gear. Wonder if Jason is starting to feel a bit tired himself as well.
Yeah, and the Carvosel and the exit, the advantage is for Little Al because he has more wing load. So this is a part where Whited is obviously struggling.
Little Al is running a little bit wide there, and I can see in the background the Skull Bandit green Bandit machine is making its way up to the rear wing of Little Al.
Yeah, that's the problem with that that Jason Whited has been suffering all the race. I mean, he gets into the fights, he's passing, repassing, being passed and all that, but the only thing that happens in the end is that they get caught up by other cars. And Pascal is indeed coming closer, and not just that, he's bringing Ray Riddle with him. So this can quickly turn into a, well, quite nasty race. Here comes Grant Riddle. Now that's interesting because he's the leader, and if he's able to get by, he will shorten everybody's race by 1 lap.
but then will he have to stop so that they don't get the extra lap shortened? And Pascal Mikla makes a bit of a move, now up the inside at the carousel, too wide down the carousel. Still holding on around outside as Little Lab just about loses the position. Some aggressive passing there, but great opportunistic move by Mikkola.
Oh, rising the grass. Fortunately, he returns to the track safely.
As he has a blue flag, so Grant is coming. So Pascal up into 7th. Wanting to take 6th away as Ray again runs wide and lets Grant go past. As Grant is pushing massively, a big long lockup for him, but stays on the track.
This will hurt Pascal more than the Lal, maybe, because he will have to let Grant pass. Not on the straight, but on the turn, braking earlier. Keeps it there.
Probably let him by here then. Stays to the inside, he wants to have the inside line in case Alberto comes with a run on him. Good tactical thinking from Pascal there. Thinking of the occasion of the possibility of it happening.
We're on lap 44. I'm not sure how the situation here with the stops is, but
well, I would think that would be with 4 to 5 laps to go, as considered, Grant will have to pit again. So we are closing in on that occasion. As Grant now hits for the pits. Grant is into the pits.
yeah, we were expecting that.
Yeah. So now these guys' races aren't shortened yet.
Jax gets the lead back.
Of course, Alberto brakes way late into turn 1, runs a bit too wide. Owen takes to the grass. Pascal sitting now right behind Jason Whitehead.
I wonder if these all have to stop or not, because this could change the picture a lot for everybody.
Indeed. As Pascal now up the inside. No,
Nice
sorry,
run.
around the outside. What a move.
He did. Pascal is really flying today.
Really impressive to see and good fun to watch. Nice, clean, racing, opportunistic moves. Awesome stuff. Was Whitehead is way wide, loses time, and now Alberto is right up behind him again.
5 laps to the end. And let's see, because Grant is, I think, right behind Brian Jenick now.
Yep,
Yes, he is. That's a 5 for the podium.
Let's make our way up
That's
there.
a 5 for the podium.
As Yannick is a little
Obviously,
wide.
Canola and Jax are out of reach for him, but the podium is there. And this is, well, this is the typical spot that everybody is so keen to fight for.
Indeed, and I'm fairly sure Brian will want to get the podium.
But obviously Grant will be on fresh tires, unless he decided to just do a splash and not change tires.
Brian definitely wanting to defend the position. Grant looking to run around outside. That will never work in Capital Corner, surely.
Well,
it's not that nice. May work in other turns, but I don't think Canada Corner is the place to try and run around outside.
Oh, there Jason Whited has locked and almost lost a position. When letting David Jack's lap, no, Little Al was able to get in front, but we see if this lasts too long, because when they straights, Whited is going to put up a fight with that low wing setup.
Indeed, and actually looking for a bit of, possibly looking for a move up the inside there. Maybe I was looking for clean air, but it looked a little aggressive.
Grant unable yet to pass Brian Janik. Probably he just did a splash and dash and didn't even take tires, and he's now suffering with the worn ones.
Possibly. As Little Al has been able to hold on to 7th for now.
There's a car in front, not sure who he is, but that could help Little Al in the straight with the slipstream. He needs all the help that he can get, because Whited has a real missile there.
As Coxon gets out of the way of Yannick and Rideau. And Little Al able to hold on the start-finish straight. That's very good for him. Now he just needs to hold on for one more straight, and he should be able to possibly pull away. But Whited gets a fantastic run onto the back straight.
Yeah, his exit was much better from that turn.
And now the blue flag from Thiago Canola to spice things up for these two. As Little Al gets off the racing line and lets him past. Oh, and Yannick is down to 4th. Grant is up into 3rd. Happened down the front straight.
Right now he managed to pass.
Yep, Grant Rideau around outside into turn 1. And made it stick. Deary me, that's...
but look, Brian Janik is coming now.
Oh, and still side by side. A little bit more contact. Oh, and Grant going for the cutback. And gets a position back. Fantastic. And Yannick now with a bit of a run. Looking down inside. Ooh, not quite able to make it there. Looking for the cutback. Oh, Grant sideways. Contact. Yannick back up into 3rd. What action with 2 laps to go. Absolutely tremendous.
Guys are forgetting that this is not NASCAR.
As they are both closing on the cars in front. Oh no!
Just it there. Oh my god. Now that's really unfortunate.
Oh no! No! You have to be kidding me! Oh dearie me! Oh, just went to the inside, I think. Just
it was pure tank slapping, because he was forcing it so much, holding it there, but it was just a bit too much, and the rear went around
he looked
him.
to the inside, took to the grass, the rear end, as you say, slapped out. He tried to correct it, but clearly overcorrected it and hard into the barriers. And unfortunately, with the way AMS sometimes calculates things, he picks up a drive-through penalty as well. And he unfortunately decides to retire the car.
Yeah, well, not that he could have even made it back to the pits.
Well, fair enough, but yeah, that's really unfortunate that Richard Wilkes is in for a splash and dash. By what I'd assume at least is a splash and dash.
Let's see who else needs fuel, because like we said, everything can change a lot now in these last laps. Oh, and Hackman is behind Brad Riddle.
So maybe Ray trying to save a bit of fuel. And that's again what I was alluding to with Grant having bad luck in this series.
Wilkes is coming out of the pits now.
It
He'll
looks
be
like
safe there because Pascal is 20 something seconds behind him.
Yep.
And Little Al has to enter the pits also. Oh my god.
Wow. With 1 lap to go.
With 1 lap to go, yes.
Oh, that's
That's
such bad
unfortunate
luck.
for
And
him.
Ray Riddle is in as well. So he was trying to save fuel. So Hackman is able to continue. Little Al, as you mentioned, is into the pits. Ray is in as well. Mick Chapman into the pits. It's Richard Coxon, who I think is going to keep going. He is.
It's for Little Al, it indicates. Okay, there he goes.
But that's Richard Coxon up past him. So that's Coxon up into 8th. Let's see, heading towards the last bit of the track. He's driven a superlative race. No mistakes as far as I've been able to see, and staying out of trouble all the way. Is
Chapman
David.
also in the pits. So let's see the leader now, David Jacks, who is now in carousel, coming now to the kink.
Yep. And heading towards Canada Corner and the last few corners of the race. Final time into and through Canada Corner. And this will be a fantastic victory for him. Just unfortunate for him in terms of the championship that the guy he's fighting for it is sitting second behind him here, but either way it'll be a win for David Yates here tonight. Congratulations, that's a fantastic drive. Thiago Canola
far behind him.
Yeah, likewise Canola with second. Really
Brian
good drive,
Janik will get third.
which I think he will be very happy with. Started 4th and stayed in the top 4 all the way. A little bit of fortune.
Jason White is in the grass. Jason White is in the grass. Ah, okay. No, he already was past it. I thought maybe he ran out of fuel. No, he got 6th.
He was a lap behind, yeah. So Brian
Rolling.
Yannick, as we mentioned, gets 3rd. 4th, with about half a lap to go, is Richard Wilkes. I think he will be very happy with that.
And Richard Coxon made a great race because he was able to drag that dog, the car, the Bettenhausen car, to a beautiful 8th position, managing properly the fuel, controlling well the situation.
Indeed, as is Hackman in 7th. Whitel of course finishes 6th. Looks like Pascal Mikola will get 5th in this race. Nicely done by him. Nice driving and good passing, good racing. Little Al still. Well, I think he will have finished. So he finishes 9th. Ray Riddle finishes 10th. 11th is Mick Chapman. 12th will be, or is, Jason White. 13th for Jean Rion. Retired, but I think he will be scored in 14th. Grant Riddle. 15th for Bruno Chacon. 16th, and unfortunately among the retirees, maybe Chacon retired as well. No, he finished. Mathieu Leclerc 16th, 17th Raoul Ireb, and 18th for David Saber.
Well, I have to run now, but it was a really fun race to watch. I hope that everybody enjoyed it, and see you next time.
Thank you very much for joining me, Alberto, and I agree it was a fantastic race, but yeah, take care and have a good night, mate.
User disconnected from your channel.
So yeah, the race is finished, and a
User
great
joined your
race it
channel.
was. With, of course, David Yates taking the win. Jerry Canola finishing second, and Brian Yannick rounding out the podium. I'll be getting to the quiz. The broadcast isn't quite over. I'm just trying to bide my time. Seeing if anyone wants to join us for a chat after the race. But again, to remind you of the question the question for this broadcast was: who was disqualified from the 1988 Briggs and Stratton 200? Was it A, Fulvio Balabio? Was it B, Randy Lewis? Or C, Dale Coyne? I know we've had a mix of answers when I put it up earlier. I think we had all kinds of different choices. But the correct answer to the trivia question is A, Fulvio Balabio, driving the number 23. Complete brain fade on the team name, but yeah.
User joined your channel. User joined your channel.
Anyway, we are now being joined by a few of our drivers. But before I go ahead and see who has joined us, let's have a quick look at what is coming up at HSO and ISO. The nearest race we have is next weekend on the 3rd of November. We will be doing the Race of Champions at International Simracing Organization, which the current HSO admin team will be moving to, using the team-made 1971 Formula 1 mod. Running, and the race of course ran at Brands Hatch, so that will be a great one for sure. And the Wednesday after that, the STW will be back for a Wednesday race on November the 6th for the Eifelrennen, which will take place at the Nürburgring. The pre-2001-2002 changes, so the first corners are the quick right-left chicane, which saw a lot of action back in the day and possibly could prove action-packed for the STW as well. And the weekend after that, on November the 10th, we will have the Bosch Sparkplug Grand Prix at the Pennsylvania International Raceway. I think it's called something differently, but I can't remember what the other name for the place is, but it's a 1 mile short oval and will surely have a lot of action as well.
Nazareth,
thank you very much, David. So we'll be at Nazareth in 2 weeks' time for the Kart 88 round 13. Good thing some people have knowledge of the tracks we are racing at. So we are joined by David Yates and Pascal Mikla. Firstly, David, congratulations on the win.
Well, thank you very much. Different style of racing, no one, not having any yellows out there, so could plan ahead and pick a strategy and just had to stick to it.
For sure, and it looks like that worked out to a treat for you. You had a
Yeah, it looked like
sorry, go ahead.
Grant really had the pace. He was going to need an extra pit stop, but it looked like he had the pace to make it happen. But something happened on the first stint. I ended up ahead of him, so whatever time loss there obviously put him under pressure.
For sure, and yeah. I also noticed that you didn't really fight him when he was wanting to go past, so I assume you expected him to have a splash towards the end.
Yeah, I kind of figured it out right after the first set of pit stops when he earlier than me. I could tell that unless he had some magic in him that he was going to need an extra stop at the end, so I was kind of counting on that, but I still thought he was gone, but came back to me, and happy to keep it on the track. Had a couple moments in there, so anytime you get to the finish line, he always made it through a couple close, so happy to make it. Thanks for the broadcast. Thanks for everybody that showed up and raced. It was a good race.
You're very much welcome, and thank you for putting on a good show. And quickly before I move on to Pascal here, Nazareth next time out. How do you rate your chances at that short oval?
Well, it's certainly a unique track, and it's one in the past that I've liked driving, so hopefully it works out with these cars as well. But looking forward, like the short ovals. The previous short ovals in the series have been pretty good to me, so hopefully I can keep that going. But it is definitely a unique circuit. There's no two turns the same, so it's going to take a compromise on the setup side for sure.
Sounds good. So again, congratulations on your win and for gaining a few points back in the championship. And yeah, hopefully you'll have a good race next time out. And Pascal, congratulations on 5th place. Looks like you had quite an action-packed race for yourself there.
Yeah, I wasn't actually expecting to come home 5th, but I must say, it was also quite a surprise when I saw Grant drop out. I don't know what happened to him, but I was just, when I saw he dropped out, all that was on my mind was keeping the other cars behind me, just keep them behind me, because my tires were really worn out, and I was lap 35, 36 when I did my last pit stop, and I only pitted for fuel, not for tires, because I figured they'd last till the end, and yeah, it was kind of dodgy, that call.
User left your
I'm
channel.
not overly surprised that
in the end, I must say, I had quite good battles, especially with Jason Whited, and also one risky call with Ray. I don't know. I sort of feel guilty because I pushed him off the track, and I'm just glad nothing happened to him at that point.
that's good to hear that. Looks like you had some battles, and yeah, I'm not overly surprised that the tires didn't quite hold out, but you made the best use of them, that has to be said. And we did catch some of your battles towards the end there, with passing Jason and Ray and Little Al as well. So Suddenly looked like you were enjoying yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean, they were all fast on the straights. Definitely, they were on both. I think they were touching about 200 miles an hour on the straights, while I was there hovering at 180. So I was going 300 kilometers an hour. At best, they were going at least 310, 315, and somehow, you know, it all happened in the braking zones. But yeah, it was actually amazing. I had like a lot of fun. Also, thank you for the broadcast, and everybody who joined can just repeat what what David already said. And yeah, let's see what happens at Nazareth.
Certainly. And yeah, what do you think? Will you be driving at Nazareth?
I actually don't know. I had the car. I had the what number was it again? Number 91 was it that I just had? Number 98. Okay, sorry.
98, yeah.
I had that mainly for the 3 races at Mid-Ohio, Pocono, and now Road America. So as far as I know, Jason Fitch is going to return for Nazareth for the Bandit. So who knows? Maybe a car will be free by then, but I can't promise anything.
Okay, well, either way, hopefully you will get some running in at Nazareth, and again, congratulations on your top 5 finish, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you back racing soon again, and hopefully you'll have a good one.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
So yeah, with that,
User disconnected from your
I
channel.
think we will cap off the broadcast. Apologies about the music volume. I'm trying my best to try and modulate that to work with the interviews. Still work in progress. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for everyone who tuned in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show as much as I did commentating and watching everyone race. So next time we will be live is next weekend on November the 3rd over at ISO. There will be a broadcast, the first broadcast on the ISO YouTube channel. If you search for International Simracing Organization, I believe you will find that channel. If you would want to watch the 1971 Race of Champions event, it'll most likely be Jason White and myself in the booth for that one. But anyway, until next time, have a great week and a good Halloween celebration if you haven't celebrated that already, and have a great vacation, Dave and Angel May. I noticed you were. I think you said you were on vacation, so yeah. Anyway, good night everyone, and take care.